It was a rainy Saturday afternoon when I moved into the old Victorian house on Elm Street. The previous owner, an elderly woman named Mrs. Whitaker, had passed away, leaving the house empty for years. It was a beautiful home, with intricate woodwork and stained glass windows, but it had an air of neglect, as if it had been waiting for someone to bring it back to life. As I unpacked my belongings, I couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement. This house was a new beginning, a chance to start fresh. The first few days were uneventful. I spent my time cleaning and getting familiar with the creaks and groans of the old structure. It wasn't until the following week that I discovered the hidden door. I had been moving some boxes in the attic when I stumbled upon it. The door was small, almost child-sized, and hidden behind a large wardrobe. It was made of heavy, dark wood and had an old, rusty keyhole. I tried to open it, but it was locked tight. My curiosity was piqued, and I decided to search for the key. After hours of searching the house from top to bottom, I found the key in a dusty old jewelry box in Mrs. Whitaker's bedroom. My hands trembled with anticipation as I turned the key in the lock. The door creaked open, revealing a narrow staircase descending into darkness. With a flashlight in hand, I cautiously made my way down the stairs. The air grew colder with each step, and the smell of damp earth filled my nostrils. At the bottom of the stairs, I found myself in a small, windowless room. The walls were lined with shelves filled with old books and jars of strange, preserved specimens. In the center of the room was a wooden table with a large, leather-bound book lying open on it. I approached the table, the hairs on the back of my neck standing on end. The book was filled with handwritten notes and diagrams, all detailing occult rituals and summoning spells. As I flipped through the pages, a sense of unease settled over me. What had Mrs. Whitaker been doing down here? Just as I was about to close the book, I heard a soft whispering sound. I froze, straining to hear. The whispering grew louder, filling the room with an unintelligible murmur. My heart pounded in my chest as I scanned the room for the source of the sound. That's when I saw it, a shadowy figure standing in the corner, its eyes glowing with an unnatural light. I backed away slowly, my flashlight flickering. The figure moved closer, its whispering turning into a low, menacing growl. Panic set in, and I turned to flee up the stairs. But as I reached the top, the door slammed shut, trapping me in the darkness. I pounded on the door, screaming for help, but the house remained silent. The whispering returned, louder and more insistent. It filled my mind, drowning out my thoughts. I felt a cold hand on my shoulder, and I spun around to face the figure. It was closer now, its face contorted in a grotesque snarl. "Leave this place," it hissed. "You do not belong here." Desperation took over, and I lunged for the door, yanking it open with all my strength. I tumbled out into the attic, slamming the door behind me. My breath came in ragged gasps as I leaned against the door, my mind racing. I had to leave the house, but I couldn't abandon my belongings. Gathering my courage, I descended the stairs and ran to the front door. As I fumbled with the lock, I glanced back and saw the shadowy figure standing at the top of the stairs, watching me with its glowing eyes. I finally managed to unlock the door and burst outside into the rain. I didn't stop running until I reached my car. I drove away, vowing never to return. That night, I stayed in a motel, unable to shake the feeling of being watched. As I lay in bed, I realized I had left the key behind in the house. The next morning, I returned to retrieve it. The house was eerily silent, the air thick with tension. I made my way to the attic, my heart pounding. The hidden door was ajar, the key lying on the floor in front of it. As I bent to pick it up, I noticed something that made my blood run cold. There, etched into the wood of the door, was a single word, "Welcome." And below it, in smaller letters, "We've been waiting." I never went back. The house still stands, empty and silent, a forgotten relic of a dark past. But sometimes, late at night, I can still hear the whispering, growing louder and more insistent, calling me back to the forgotten room. If you liked the video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe the channel for more such real horror stories.